Tim. Thanks, man.
Okay. So welcome to meeting number 20. Are we recording? Yes, we are. Great. Okay, so first thing on the agenda is the hard fork coordination update. So I don't think there's many updates from the last core devs call rather than just, Istanbul going forward. I think the most important thing is probably the blog post we've all been looking at. So it might be worth just like taking a couple of minutes to talk through the bits that had a bit more longer comment threads on it. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I think Hudson would like us to kind of ship this week if possible, just because the upgrades are going to happen on the testnets next week. So it'd be nice to have a bit of advance notice. So I'll share the doc here in the comments. We can kind of paste that into the notes. And I'll kind of walk through the comments on the side of the post, and we can hopefully get like quick resolution on some, or at least action items. So starting from the top, I had a comment on the title. I just wanted to make it a bit clearer that this was about the test nets and not the mainnet fork directly in the title. Does anyone disagree with that or have another suggestion?
So we're not going to talk to the mainnet fork at all?
So the mainnet fork hasn't been scheduled yet. So I think
correct.
It'll be the same EAPs, but it's worth we'll probably want to redo another post when the mainnet fork is scheduled.
To say the same thing, or just to say it's coming?
I think to say the same thing, and also if anything changed since the testnet fork. So for example, in Constantinople, some EAP 1283 was pulled out after the testnet. So I think you kind of want to provide those types of updates.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I mean, I agree. I mean, I looked at the time frames and so on, and it looks like the last testnet's going to be coming through in December. So it probably means mainnet fork is probably going to be in January at the earliest. Yeah, that's 3 months, man. So I agree with you. If we can say this is specific to testnet, I think we should be good, because in 3 months people have forgotten that bloody Istanbul's coming.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of also good that people don't expect that mainnet is right around the corner, right? Like if they just read the title, that they don't think oh, Istanbul is upgrading, pretty soon.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Any other comments on this? Okay, so I'll do that change. Next change was kind of there was just like a subtitle. There were 2 comments there. I added a bit more details. I don't know if we want to add that. And then there was whether we want to say it's a hard fork. And I think Pooja, myself, and William were in favor of removing, AKA hard fork. Does anyone have a strong opinion there?
Remove it.
Okay. So I'll remove this. Merge this. This. Okay. And this was kind of the biggest bit. So I see, William, you kind of did a lot of edits in the core paragraph. It seems like you kind of took some of the stuff Pooja added a big section at the end. And it seems like, William, you kind of worked this into the existing paragraph. I don't know if the 2 of you have any comments there about what we want to add, remove, keep.
I was just trying to give clarity here on what is network upgrade and hard fork. Basically, both are same, and at sometimes it is called as hard fork, not all the time. This time we are going with network upgrade, and unless we are getting another chain, it's getting forked, we should not actually call it a hard fork. And that was I was trying to explain in those paragraphs. So So that's it. I mean, like I took something from the main paragraph, which is mentioned above, whatever I have written, and something from the below. It is just like there. So yeah, I'm happy to edit it either way, or if you would want to pick up something from here and add it to the core paragraph, that is also fine.
Yeah, I think, William, you kind of did that, right? I don't know if you can hear us, William, or if you're saying anything, but we can't hear you.
Yeah, William's audio is not working at the moment. He's trying to fix it.
Oh, okay. I just saw.
Yeah, I see that he has tried to, I mean, like he has kind of did that. He had added, rephrased it and added that. That's good.
So are you saying you're good if we go with like William's like changes to the center paragraph instead of the ones you added at the end, just to make sure I understand?
Yeah, I'm just trying to take a couple of minutes to just
yeah, of course. Yeah. And maybe as you're reading through that, I just added like a quick sentence after the paragraph, like that we're doing the upgrades on test nets before mainnet. So I don't know if anyone has any comments, objections to that.
No, I'm happy with that.
Okay.
I think one thing here I was trying to, like, I'm not sure, I'm just pointing it out. When we see it's mentioned that we have 7 forks so far, right? So when you go to the list, you see that Constantinople is not mentioned there. So if we add Constantinople, it's going to be like 8 fork, if we are going by the list of etherchain.org.
Huh. Yeah, good catch. So yeah, so that means Constantinople is the 9th.
It's the 9th fork.
Yeah, Istanbul may be the 9th.
Wow. Yeah.
But you know, I was also looking at the last paragraph thing where you have mentioned that if you want to know more about Istanbul, go to this Ethwiki, and from there it seems like Istanbul is the 8th fork.
So Istanbul is number 8 because they're starting from 0.
So here's the catch.
So Istanbul is the 8th fork, right? Because the first one wasn't the fork. Because the first one was
the catch here. It's about EIP 150 hard fork.
Yes.
Wait. Yeah.
EIP.
Go ahead, please.
So you're quite right with regards to the number of forks. There are only 8 forks. Frontier was not a fork; it was the release of the mainnet.
And EIP 150, I think it's just Tangerine Whistle, and they just kind of called it wrong. Yeah, it's the same block.
Correct.
So okay. So yeah, so it is the 8th fork, and there's been 7. Yeah, so there's been 7 in the past, and this is number 8, and the first one doesn't count because it's the network block.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, then we are good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Who runs etherchain.org? That's what's his name Peter from the mining company.
Okay. Is it open source?
Etherchain.org? No, I don't believe so.
Oh well, they have a GitHub, right? Let me search for Etherchain. Etherchain Lite. Anyways, yeah, maybe it's a Bitfly. So yeah, maybe we can just have an action item to ping them about the wrong hard fork.
Yeah, they just need to update.
Yeah.
To have Constantinople and Tangerine Whistle.
I can actually ping them because I was coordinating with them for the ProgPile audit and one of the fundraisers.
Cool.
I mean, if we want, then we can probably remove it from here as well, because at the end we are providing the link of Ethwiki, and it's already mentioned.
Yeah. Let's use the Ethwiki link.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll copy the 2 links over. Text.
I should have audio, by the way.
Yes, I can.
Hey, William. Welcome back.
Yeah, I can be heard now.
Yes, did you hear the talk?
Tim, you're just breaking up pretty badly, mate.
I get what you were asking, though. You were asking if I could hear what happened before. Yeah, I could hear you guys. I'm fine with everything you've said so far. I mean, I liked Pooja's paragraphs, and you were all right that my whole intent there was to try and bring the hard fork definition a bit up, maybe just to simplify and streamline things and to give us the ability to make things more concise. But I mean, yeah, full agreement with everything said.
Okay, so are we saying we keep your changes in the main paragraph as well as Pooja's, or we replace your?
My intent.
We replace Pooja's paragraphs by your.
My intent had been to give I put this in the comments down by Pooja's paragraphs. My intent had been to try and give the ability to maybe, if you guys want, the ability to remove those paragraphs. I thought probably the most important piece of information there was just defining hard fork, because it's a well-recognized phrase. So I figured putting that around where the first time hard fork was mentioned would make for better readability. And that way also, if we wanted to free up those few paragraphs there to keep it more concise, I thought, like, you know, at least that piece of information would still be saved. But I mean, I'm really open to everybody else's suggestions. I just wanted to give the ability to like try and go in that direction.
Yeah, I find his rephrasing is kind of covering everything. Just the one point I was thinking here is like, you know, the question that we keep on asking again and again, do we get a coin? So that is actually not being answered. So if we could add a line about that, like in that definition of a hard fork, I was trying to mention that sometimes the native token holder may also receive equivalent of amount only in case of hard fork, not in the case of upgrade. So if that could be adjusted over there, that may complete the gist of whatever I was trying to write down.
Maybe to put that in the area about what do I need to do if I'm an ETH holder, just to mention something over there that if you are a coin holder, you're not likely to see your coins magically multiply.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. So I think the whole reason that the Ethereum Foundation wanted to start calling them network upgrades instead of hard forks is to not have that discussion around the chain potentially splitting. My personal opinion is we should like not reference that anywhere, because it kind of hints at the possibility of a network split, which is definitely not something we want. And I also think that because this is the testnet only forks, like it's not even a possibility, right? Like there's no actual Ether. So
I guess for those people that don't understand, we don't want to bring in the concept or the idea of it, because it's not going to be a reality anyway. So rather than causing speculation, just simply drop it.
I mean, yeah. I'd also argue that on a really super technical level, if I can get technical for a second, technically the definition of a hard fork is not that the chain does actually split. It's just that there are backwards incompatible changes that are introduced into the chain.
You're spot on, mate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, usually when people use it and they say it's hard forking, so a lot of times they do, I think, colloquially mean that there are people who are still mining the original chain. But I think that putting in sort of the more technical definition just sort of side skirts all of that by just saying, like, the definition is there are things that aren't backwards incompatible. And I guess if you're technically savvy enough, you'll figure out that means that someone could theoretically break chain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree with putting the definition. I think it's good. I just, we don't want to like, it's my opinion. Again, I'm very cautious about creating the perception that there might be a separate chain that's working. Especially like because of all the prog file discussions right now, even though it's a separate fork, like I think we should try to keep it focused that like this is an upgrade to the Ethereum chain, and it's an upgrade that basically everyone who wants to be part of Ethereum will have to do. And And if some group decides to hard fork off of it and create their own chain, it's kind of up to them to promote that chain rather than like through the official.
We're talking about it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but at this point of time, as you said, that this is testnet, this is actually irrelevant. So mentioning and discussing over there, I mean, like, it may not be required here.
Okay, so
we can probably, yeah, erase that.
Okay. Okay, so now what is Istanbul? No comments there. Oh, okay, so William, you had another comment around like, should we just have one major subsection? What should I do? And then kind of subsections to that, like as an Ether holder or as like someone with a contract or as like a node operator?
I think it would be more readable.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Does anyone disagree with that?
No.
Okay. Yeah, William, if you have time to make that change after the call, that would be great. I'm not going to try
to do it right now. No problem.
as I speak. So Pooja, does that address you had a comment? What am I supposed to do if I'm a miner or a node operator? And then I guess that'll kind of be.
No, actually, what William is suggesting, I was trying to do that. I was trying to put it into 3 different sections, but since it was originally formatted this way, I put it into 3 different questions. But yeah, I'm okay. I was originally trying to do the same thing.
Okay, got it. Great. And then
Great minds.
Yeah. Pooja, you had a comment about removing a duplicate. I think that makes sense. It's pretty straightforward. So we can just delete this line. Okay, so for the clients, I tried to fetch the releases. I don't think Aleph has a release. I'm not sure about Trinity, so we'll leave them there. And if they don't have a release by the time we publish the blog post, I think we should just remove them.
Tim, just a minute here. About parity, I mentioned that, but I'm not very sure that if they have the block start number, Genesis over there is there. We need to confirm that too before we release this document.
Okay, I will do that. And I think the get number is also wrong because not that this one doesn't contain Istanbul, but I think there was a vulnerability in this one and they upgraded to 1.95. So I'll double check all the numbers after this call. Okay, so yeah, then there was a comment about the mining pools. So I don't think this is relevant because it's just test nets. And then Pooja, another one of your comments that William's going to refactor. Free cryptocurrency tokens, we talked about that already. Oh, and yeah, Pooja, there was a duplicate there. So I think, yeah, it makes sense to remove it as well. Yeah, remove this. And I think that's it in terms of comments. So I think we're pretty much good to go once we have William's refactors and me checking the client versions. Is there anything else anyone feels is missing or that we need to do for this blog post?
I think for testnet, we are pretty much in good shape. Maybe we would want to add something new in the mainnet.
Yeah, I think, yeah, like Brett said, if it's in a couple months, we probably want another blog post just to at least refresh people's minds.
Yeah, I can see it being very similar to what it is now, but obviously focusing on the mainnet launch.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on, second agenda item, funding, accounting, multisig. Lots of fun stuff there as well. So number 1 was update on Gitcoin discrepancy.
Brent, do we have an update on that?
Yeah, sorry, had my mute on. I pinged Kevin Owocki. We've got questions out to him, and last we heard from Kevin, he was going to do a dump and try and look into that discrepancy, and I haven't heard back from him yet. I pinged him earlier this morning. I should have pinged him a day or 2 ago just to get him back on track with that. But basically, we'll need to carry this over to the next meeting, I guess, and I'll try and harp on him more, trying to get that resolved. So, does anyone else know, besides that particular issue, is there any other accounting stuff that we need to look into? Because that's really the only issue that I know of. So I was wondering if anyone knew of any other issues we need to look at.
So this is not like, we don't need to do this now, but we'll have to do this soon. Once we do get the funds from Moloch for the note taking, we should have like a clear way of saying like, these funds are separate and they're kind of earmarked for the notes, right?
Right, yeah.
So just want to make sure that, yeah, they don't get mixed up. And even if it's just like keeping a spreadsheet or having this on our GitHub, that it's like publicly shown that, you know, these funds are for that.
Yeah, it seems like we should have a second multi-sig account for that.
I'm not sure that will be possible because maybe we need to send it over. Anyways, we can discuss this offline, but the Moloch grant is to our current multi-sig, so we'll need to use that to get the shares.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thanks for that.
Yeah, probably from now onwards, we would be like keeping an accounting of from here onwards, and we would not be adding any other funding. Like if we take up any other job, just like we did it in ProgPower case. If we take up anything else, then we have to have separate multisig for that particular activity. That might help, I hope.
Agreed.
Okay. And the second funding issue was update on Cat Herder's note funding. And I think Pooja, you had added that. Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. Like there is one issue which was like funding for H2 note taking 19, which was long back, and it was just kind of slipped that it was neither considered a part of ECH at that point of time, not the part of H2. So Brett was suggesting, and Hudson also agreed to that it could be funded by ECH for this time, and from I think after 20th onwards, it is being taken care by ETH 2.0. However, ETH 2.0 is still I see inconsistencies in granting a fund for past 2, 3, 4, I guess, 4 nodes. I see that those are still open.
Yeah, ETH 2.0 have not said that they're not going to fund them. It's just been a case of, I think Danny's been run off his feet and he's trying to coordinate with Gitcoin to basically make sure that those funds get released. Unfortunately, the process is just wearing him a little thin. But I believe, as Pooja said, that everything will be funded through that process going forward. In the case of number 19, it is unfortunately one of those ones that slipped between the cracks of the way it was run in the old way to the way it's being run now. I've reached out to Danny. Unfortunately, I've not heard anything back with regards to that, so I can only assume that it probably will not be covered, and therefore I recommend that we just simply get the ECH to pay that and move on.
I think that makes sense. Does anyone disagree with that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Next, was that everything, Pooja? So I saw you had a comment also under the agenda. Is that what you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, and another thing that I mentioned is already being taken care of. All the issues have been cleared up by Charles and Lane, so it's good.
Okay, great. So Moloch DAO update. We did get the funding. Now the hard part is actually getting your funds. Yeah.
Well done, mate. Awesome work that you did for us, buddy. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm super happy it passed, and it's like there were 3 or 4 different people who voted for it, so it's not like it kind of passed and no one saw it. It seems like there was fairly broad support for this. So thanks, Moloch DAO, if anyone is listening that voted for us. But now we need to get the funds. And basically the way this works is when you get a grant on Moloch, it gives you shares in Moloch DAO that are proportional to 1 Ether per share. So you need to sort of exit Moloch DAO to get your shares, which we should probably then convert to DAI. And the one caveat there is that we should keep at least 1 share as part of our Moloch account, so that this way the cat herders can stay members of Moloch DAO, which is probably something we want. So this is all pretty complicated. I'm happy to look into it, but I'm actually not a member of the multi-sig. So if anyone, like if I can be added as a member of the multi-sig, I'm happy to kind of dig into this and obviously, you know, figure out how we can get the funds in our multi-sig. Yeah, otherwise, if someone else who is a member wants to dig into this, yeah, you're free to as well.
We've got 2 out of 3 here, I think. It's Brett, Charles, and Lane, no?
No, it's Hudson, Charles, and Lane.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, Tim, I'd be more than happy to do it either way. Having add 2 more people to the multi-sig, or I can just go ahead and proceed with the Moloch work that needs to be done with the multi-sig. I mean, we could use our Aragon DAO to make a vote.
Okay, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I'm happy to like propose an Aragon vote to add myself to the multi-sig. Do you want to look at trying to get Moloch started in parallel, Charles? So it's not like blocked on me being added to the multi-sig?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, great. So I guess we have 2 action items. One for me to create a vote for the multi-sig, and one for Charles to look into Moloch. I know, Brett, you also wanted to be added to the multi-sig, is that right?
No, I'm happy to remain neutral at this point, only because at the moment I'm obviously a beneficiary of the funds that are being paid for note taking.
Okay.
I don't want a conflict of interest there for the time being.
Okay, sounds good.
Just as a total side note, this has nothing to do with the cat herders, but whoever does end up working with, like, trying to get the funding out of Moloch might want to try and blog the process just for the Moloch community, just so there's resources out there about what the experience is like getting a grant from Moloch and then trying to use the funds.
That's a great idea.
I'm sure all of you have enough to do with that also.
I find it a very good idea. I mean, this way we can be staying in Moloch. Maybe in future we would be needing it for some or the other purpose of some other voting. So at least we should maintain our voting rights over there.
Also, regarding adding people to the multi-sig, maybe it makes sense to add 2 people so that we can do 3 out of 5 instead of, you know, 3 out of 4 or something. Maybe make more sense.
Does anyone else want to be added?
I propose Hugo.
Thank you. No, I think there was a first proposal of being 5 people in the multi-sig, and definitely Pooja was on it. I would definitely vote for her.
Yeah, but I'm okay not being included at this point of time because, as Brett mentioned, that we are part of note-taking team. So if it may create a conflict of interest, then I would better try to refrain myself being there. But if it does not, then I'm okay. I mean, I'm okay to be added there, but I'm okay in either way.
Doesn't seem like a conflict of interest to me, because that's going to really hobble us. But it's going to be very visible where all the money's going. So
alternatively, also, we could just work on adding a 4th, and if we see that it creates a deadlock situation, add a 5th as a tiebreaker.
Can we do 2 out of 4?
Ooh, I'm not sure. I don't see why not, though.
Yeah, maybe that's a way to just avoid the deadlocks, like 2 out of 4, and then if we go to 5, we go to 3 out of 5.
Or I mean, if not, if no one else wants to be added, maybe just add 1 more and do 3 out of 4. I don't know.
I think 3 out of 4 is way better than 2 out of 4. I've never really heard 2 out of 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So does anyone oppose 3 out of 4? For the time being, we can obviously always kind of revisit this.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'll create the Aragon vote. And I lost the agenda. Oh. And next action item was, not action item, sorry, agenda item was the Ethereum Cat Herders DAO.
Yeah, Charles and I had a catch up on that. There's not a lot really more to be said about that at this stage, apart from the fact that we should perhaps just start using the ECH DAO to start making decisions rather than in the chats. But we're already starting to do that with your decision to put the votes up for adding you to the multi-sig, Tim. So I think we continue with that for the time being.
Great. Okay, so moving on, ProgPal community updates. Anyone wants to talk about ProgPal?
I'll take a crack at it, I guess. There's been a recent wave of resurgence in the ProgPal debates. So there's been all sorts of different commentaries this way or the other, a resurgence of a lot of old narratives. I guess as always, as coordinators, it sort of asks the question of if we should be doing anything now. There was some conversation in the Cat Herders Gitter. It would seem from the, at least my impression from the Gitter was that the general consensus amongst us is that being that there's no actions being taken on ProgPal now, there's no real need for us to perform any further duties at this juncture or to like somehow get involved even with saying that we're not doing anything yet, and just to sort of let this happen. And if there is actually a chance of ProgPal being incorporated or not, then maybe reevaluating what our place in that should be. I guess, does anybody think that there's any particular action that we need to be taking at this juncture?
Not necessarily sure if it's an action, but a lot of the core devs always ask when people ask them that they want changes or something, the core devs always tell them, well, build consensus. And because if you're the only one saying it, no one's going to believe you. But if someone's making a claim and saying we should do something or change something, it needs to be more than just one person. They need to build consensus and demonstrate how many people are on that. And of course, Canonizer is set up to do that. And if anyone hears someone saying we should make a change, they should be told to build consensus. And Canonizer is there to help anyone build consensus that wants to, because we're offering our services for free. So if anyone is making a claim, they should contact Canonizer and we can help them create a camp and help them demonstrate a proven consensus, and we're in the process of, I'm not sure how much longer it'll take, but we're working on a Ether canonizer algorithm, so people will be able to vote their Ether and stuff like that. But anyway, just that's one possibility that we're hoping. If loud people are making a lot of noise, we should tell them, we'll canonize it so we can see if there's more than just you that's worried about this. Because some people are making claims, if we go forward with ProgPal, there'll be a fork. Some people are claiming if we don't go forward with ProgPal, there'll be a fork. But again, all of those people making those claims should, if that's the case, then they ought to be able to get a lot of people to sign a camp in Canonizer and say, yes, I am really upset about this and I want this to change. And this is why I want to change. And it's also all around falsifiabilities. So trying to get people to describe what it would be to get you on, what would be required to get you on board, so that it's consensus building in that way. But anyway, I'll shut up now.
All right. I mean, it does sound like in terms of the cat herders also that we don't necessarily have something that we need to be doing as a group, though. You agree with that, Brent?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a couple of loud people out there talking, but I think they're the only one people, because if there was really a lot of people that wanted to do this, they'd be willing to create a petition camp on Canonizer and everyone join and sign that petition, so we could see that if it's more than a lot of people. But yeah.
Okay, great. I don't think there's anything more to add on this subject.
I think it makes sense to just let it be for the moment, especially since it's so contentious, and you know, anything you say about BlockFile, it's gonna, you know, make people, I don't know, express what they think. And I think the debate it's getting way healthier than it was like a few months ago. So that's why I think it's good to just let it be the way it is.
Yeah, I think that's everybody here. Like, the consensus does seem to be let it write itself out.
Yeah.
Okay. Next topic of discussion was DEF CON. So there's a couple topics there. The first one is the Ethereum Magician's Rings. The second one is the EEA workshop. So I had like a quick update on this, but basically Ethereum Magicians have a room for the first day of DEF CON, and I can post the schedule in the chat. This is kind of the unofficial schedule, but it should be part of the DEF CON schedule. And in the morning, there's going to be the EEA workshop as well, with like an ETH Magicians intro. And then in the afternoon, there's a Ethereum roadmap session, which starts with some basically open conversation around the ETH1 roadmap, the ETH2, ETH1 transition, and then the ETH2 roadmap. And at the end of the afternoon, there's going to be basically working groups set up to discuss stuff that comes out of the Ethereum roadmap sessions. So there won't be like a formal cat herder ring or meetup, but I think this is definitely something that like cat herders can help by participating in, and making sure that like these working groups that come out of it kind of can request the assistance of the cat herders. So yeah, I guess just wanted to share that. I don't know if anybody else has comments or anything they'd like to add about this.
Having cat herders buy the Magician's Rings is a very good idea. Just, I mean, I think for a number of reasons even. I mean, I'm not going to be there, unfortunately, but if there is the opportunity for anyone from the cat herders to attend the Magician's Rings, I think it would be a great idea.
I think I'll probably spend most of the day there throughout the various sessions, yeah.
I plan on being there too, as much as I can.
Oh, awesome.
Cool. And then any other business? So is there anything else anyone wants to chat about?
No, just a quick one. We've added a couple new people to the note taking. Edson has joined us, and we also have a new person that's going to be coming through. I'm going to be adding him today anyway, called Session. And basically we're trying to grow the number of note takers to make it a little bit easier for the note takers that currently exist, so we can have a couple of weeks off rather than take notes every second week or every week.
Great.
One thing I just wanted to bring up, I'm not sure if it is the right time or a little early for that, but as we are going towards the testnet, we might also want to look into our miners pool thing that we did for Constantine pool 2 last time, like gathering their interest, like letting them know like we are moving towards this and you need to upgrade to this. So if we can come up with the list, I mean, of course the list is available, it is handed with us, but we might want to think to contact them, not immediately, but maybe after some time.
I don't have a strong opinion about that, but I think it would probably be closer to when either the test nets go live or around that time, like so probably December-ish. No?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to bring the topic so that at least we can look back into our list and look for the contacts, because last time, like we were trying to reach out to the people, and like a couple of times we were not getting proper response. So this time,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
Tim, do we know who's coordinating the various testnet upgrades?
There's no single person. Like, yeah, it's basically all of. Oh, sorry. It's basically all of the core devs. There's no hard fork release coordinator.
One of the things that we're very conscious of with the upgrade to the testnet is previously when we upgraded the testnets, we weren't engaging the miners of the testnets. I know it's a little bit different for Gorley, but the others have one or two miners. And we just didn't bother to tell anyone, and as a result, the testnet's never upgraded. It might be something that we just need to remind the core devs, or we ourselves need to engage with the various miners of the testnets to ensure that they are actually fully aware of it, not just via the Medium post that we're going to put out, but actually engaging them directly and saying, it's going to be at this day, at this time, please ensure that you're upgrading your
Yeah, is there like a minor getter or something like that?
For the individual testnets, I'm not aware. It tends to be people know the people who are doing it, more than anything else. I know Infura has been trying to help out in that process. But yeah, it's just perhaps something we need to raise and make aware.
Maybe it's worth it to try and actually get some documentation, like maybe actually collect a list of testnet operators, like people who are running testnet mining rigs. I mean, we have that for mainnet, like at least make sure. I guess what I'm thinking of is there's sort of the stakeholders document that charts a lot of the major miners on mainnet. It might be useful to have such a document for testnets also. Like, I mean, for things like you're saying, just to help coordinate testnet forking and whatnot.
Yeah. I guess
no idea. I have no idea how that would get put together, though.
I guess the issue with that is a lot of the times the miners are might be application developers, and they'll run a miner for a short time to earn a bit of testnet ETH, and then shut down their mining rig, and others just might be running it randomly, so it becomes tough to pinpoint to exactly who's running a mining rig.
Well, I definitely don't mean the like, you know, the sort of hobbyist or like, you know, dev who needs a few test ETH. I know there are people like Afri, I'm pretty sure, is running at least a couple to a few. I'm not sure if it's nodes or miners.
Yeah, so we coordinated with Gorley. Gorley's the only one. Well, I mean, and Robson and Rinkaby through the core devs. So I think there was some coordination in just selling the block numbers. I think it probably makes sense to just try and like have reminders to the core devs and make sure that I feel like the way to maybe go about it is just to reach out in the core devs getter and ask, you know, if every as the fork for every testnet approaches, if there's people we should get in touch for that specific testnet, and someone there will probably know. So maybe just like having us monitor this, like based on the different dates of the testnet upgrades. Yeah, having us monitor it and just go and core dev to people when the date gets close. Does anyone want to own that action item of like pinging the Cordash channel?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that on board.
Great, thanks, Brett. Any other things that people want to discuss? Okay, so reviewing the past action items, there were 4 actions. First one, William agreed to ask Charles about removing the agenda items about action items from the Constantinople postmortem. That seems like it's been done.
I can't say. I didn't realize I was supposed to do that. If it got done, I have to confess it's not because of me.
So there's no Constantinople postmortem agenda item, so I think we're good. Next one, Brent to continue to work with Kevin and William on the cat herders funding. We talked about that.
Yep.
Then next one was Brent and Hudson to discuss how to remove the bottleneck on the payout for note taking.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him much yet. I haven't done anything on that. I'm not sure exactly what I can do because I don't know. I guess I'll have to bug Hudson and ask him about that. Would that be a good route for me to go? Or was that Brent or Brett? Sorry.
I think it was you, Brent. Yeah, Hudson's on vacation this week, but maybe sending you a message for like next week and following up on that. Makes sense?
Okay. Yeah, I'll add that to my list of things to do and I'll bang on that one.
Though, just to point out, next week's DevCon, so it might be hard to get in touch with Hudson for the time being.
Is he going to be at DevCon?
Brent, it's going to be the perfect time because you can go and walk up to him and shake his hand.
Yeah, I'll go slap him around a bit.
Invariably, he'll be at the front.
Wait, it's not next week. It's the week after, right?
Yeah, week after next. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad.
You scared me.
So are we having a meeting in our normal meeting in 2 weeks?
When does DevCon start?
On the 8th of October, from the 8th to the 11th.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Okay, yeah, just to come back to this action item, Brent will stalk Hudson at DevCon to make that happen. And the next bit is the meeting during DevCon. So I don't think it's realistic to have one there. Okay, so next meeting on the 15th, that makes sense. And final action item was Brent's canonizer ProgPal topic. I think, Brent, you discussed this already, so it seems like
yep,
been done.
Yep, that done. And just to comment, to let everyone know that there's a constant running survey at Canonizer. It's a real-time constant survey. So if anyone wants to do a survey or anything, they can just point them at Canonizer and say, it's a real-time. Anyone can start and run a survey anytime they want.
Legend. Thank you, mate.
Yeah, before we...
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, before we close this, I see both Charles and Brett over here. So I would want to again come back to the open PR. It's been open for a while.
Can you share it in the chat, please?
I'm gonna share that.
This is the pull request for part of the post-Constantinople.
There are two documents. One is the part of Constantinople, another one was the ECH contribution guideline. I prepared it in June somewhere to help the community who are getting new in the community, and they would know how we work and how they can actually contribute. So if somebody could, we had a kind of Lane had some comments, Charles had some comments, and we were hoping to get it closed. So you can just have a look, and if we can close it so that at least I can do that, but I would want somebody else to close it.
Yeah, I think the only additions that need to occur are the examples that were commented by Lane, and then it's good to be closed. Like example scenarios and example terminology, if I recall correctly.
I'm sorry. So you're talking about the so the two out of the two, you're talking about the emergency comm template, right?
Emergency communication process. Yeah, that's the emergency comm template.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted.
Yeah. So what do you want me to look into?
Pooja, if you could just reach out to Lane just to confirm that he's happy with your comments, and then we can close it.
Okay, got it. Okay, I'll check with Lane, and I'll see if he's okay. Then we can probably go ahead and close that.
Awesome.
I have a question on the removing the bottleneck. I need to know who is responsible for, there's the 3 different types of fundings. There's the cat herder note-taking, 1.x funding note-taking, and 2.x note-taking. And I know that Lane Redding is one of the people responsible for 2.x note-taking funding. Who are the people on the 1.x funding?
No, so the note-taking.
Yeah.
The ETH1 is the Ethereum cat herders, and that's the people from the multi-sig.
So the ETH1 funding is the same. Oh, that comes out of the cat herders multi-sig people. So,
exactly,
so tell me
right.
those people again. That's
Charles, Lane,
Charles,
and
Lane,
Hudson.
and Hudson. Okay,
and soon to be Tim.
Okay.
And then the cat herders is the same. The cat herder meeting. And then the Ethereum 2 funding, that is Danny, and he's working with Gitcoin. And that's the one we have the least power over.
And that's the one that the bottleneck needs to be fit. And Lane doesn't have any control over that either, or?
Not at all.
Oh, so it's just Danny. Then that's the bottleneck there. Okay, cool. Thanks for that. That'll help me do my job better.
Otherwise, all the other delayed payments should have now been pushed through. Charles and Hudson and Lane have gone and worked through those.
I did see a notification from Gitcoin about our first meeting funding, and it says I have received it, and I'm going through the process to try and collect that, but I haven't shown it. It hasn't shown up.
And you got a tip there. So
yeah. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, I'm trying to figure that out.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I mean, like, I was just thinking that we need to check with ETH2 team. Like, I have been seeing a lot of people sending notes over there for, immediate note that was not completely formatted, but that is there. So I'm not sure if, how they are planning to handle this thing. They really want it from ECH or not. Or if they do not have funding, just like we get it from Moloj for ETH1, do they want it for ETH2 as well? We can try that. So I'm not sure if we need to talk to them. I'll try to check with Danny and drop a note, like if they are looking for help from ECH, like definitely we understand that he is looking after it too and coordinating so many other activities over there. So he may have some bandwidth issue. Probably we can step up and offer our help and ask him.
I might, because we have, I've raised a couple of issues on the Getter, on the GitHub at least. I might just drop a line in there because obviously he hasn't resolved any of those issues, and just ask him if there's anything that the Ethereum cat herders can do to assist with the current process. Because I know he reached out to Gitcoin himself and said, guys, is there a way we can automate this or stream this? Because this is, I'm finding it difficult to manage that. So I'll push another question out specifically to him, and maybe see if we can get Gitcoin to engage directly with the cat herders so that we can move this forward.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Cool.
Cool. Anything else? Okay, then I guess that's it. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, enjoy DevCon, whoever's going.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, likewise. And yeah, guess we'll chat right after DevCon.
Cool.
Oh wait, so did we decide we're skipping next meeting? Did I miss
Yes.
that or?
Yes.
The next meeting will be a week after on the 15th.
Oh, we're just postponing it 1 week. So will that slide the whole schedule then?
Yes, it will.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks. Sorry.
Cool.
Great.
Thanks,
Okay.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Bye bye. Thank you.